Hello everyone, today's lesson is on probability. Probability is how we measure the likelihood of an event happening, and it can be calculated given the right data. So the language that you use with probability, the vocabulary, includes words like certain, impossible, unlikely, likely, and then terms like 50-50 and evens. It can be measured on a scale of 0 up to 1 or using a percentage. If something is definitely going to happen, that's a probability of 1. If it's impossible, probability of 0. If it's 50-50, then it's halfway, so that's 0.5. If it's unlikely, it lies between 0 and 0.5. And if it's likely, it lies between 0.5 and 1. If it's very unlikely, it's going to be closer to 0. If it's very likely, it's going to be closer to 1. So very unlikely, very likely. So let's have a look and see what these questions bring up. What is the probability it will snow today? I would say that's very unlikely. I wouldn't say it's impossible because with our weather, you never know. So I'm going to say that it's very unlikely. What is the probability the sun will rise tomorrow? That is certain. The sun has to rise tomorrow. What is the probability I will go to the moon today? That is going to be 0 or impossible. I will not be going to the moon today. I have not completed my training. Finally, what is the probability I will eat chocolate today? Well, that's probably going to be somewhere in here, very likely, assuming I've got any left. So I'm going to say that's very likely. I'll just abbreviate that. Okay, so those are terms that we use to describe probability. Let's look at some questions. These are similar to the ones I've asked you to do. So, probability, choosing numbers. I've got 10 numbers, 1 up to 10. I want to know the probability I will choose an even number. So I've got 10 numbers, and the even numbers, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 even numbers. So the probability I will choose an even number is 5 out of 10. We want to simplify this fraction. At the minute it's 5 over 10. 5 and 10 have a common factor of 5. So I can divide both of them by 5 and I will get a half. So 5/10 in its simplest form is a half. What is the probability I will choose a number greater than 8? So the numbers that are greater than 8 are 9 and 10. It does not include 8. 8 is not greater than 8. So I've got 2 numbers out of 10. Again, 2 and 10 have a common factor of 2. So I divide them by 2, I get 1/5. Next one, what is the probability I will choose a number less than 5? So there are 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers that are less than 5. 4 out of 10. Again, 4 and 10 have a common factor of 2. So I divide them by 2, I will get 2/5. Next question, what is the probability I will choose a prime number? So the prime numbers are 2, 3, 5, and 7. Remember, a prime number is a number that has only 2 factors, 1 and the number itself. So that's 4 numbers out of 10 that are prime. Again, we know that 4/10 is equal to 2/5. We don't even need to do the maths again. And the last question, what is the probability when I choose one of these numbers at random that I will choose a multiple of 3? So the multiples of 3 are 1 times 3 is 3, 2 times 3 is 6, and 3 times 3 is 9. So I've got 3 multiples of 3. So that's 3 out of 10. That cannot be simplified, so we leave it as 3/10. Right, next question. I have all the letters in the word Canadian. Okay, I'm going to pick one letter at random. What is the probability I will pick the letter N? So there's 1, 2 N's. How many letters have I got altogether? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's 2 out of 8. Again, I can simplify that. 2 and 8 have a common factor of 2. So I'm going to divide by 2, and that will give me 1/4. Probability of choosing the letter N is 1/4. What is the probability of choosing the letter A? I've got 1, 2, 3 A's, 3 out of 8. No common factors with 3 and 8, so I leave the answer as that. What is the probability I will choose the letter T? Well, there are no T's, so that's 0 out of 8. That's just 0. What is the probability I will choose a vowel? Vowels are the letters A, E, I, O, U, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 vowels in Canadian. 4 out of 8. Again, I can divide both of those numbers by 4. That is the highest common factor. So that gives me 1/2 or 1/2. So the probability of choosing a vowel is 1/2. So now I've got 12 playing cards, and the playing cards have different colours. They will also be one of the different suits. So I've got spades, clubs, diamonds, and hearts. Choosing one card at random, what is the probability I will choose a red card? So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 red cards. So that's 4 out of 12. 4 and 12 have a common factor, 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 12 divided by 4 is 3. What is the probability I will choose a purple card? Well, there are no purple cards, so the probability is 0. What is the probability I will choose a heart? So I've got 1, 2, 3 hearts. 3 out of 12. I can divide both those numbers by 3 and get 1/4. Next one, what's the probability I will choose a club? So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 clubs. 4 out of 12, which we know is a third. And lastly, what is the probability I will choose a card with a blue heart? There's only one card with a blue heart. That's 1 out of 12. That cannot be simplified. Okay. Next question. This is a slightly trickier question, definitely a level 3 question. So, here I have a classroom. This is the front of the room. And we've got 16 chairs, 4 by 4, 16 chairs. And the diagram shows you whether a boy or a girl is sitting on each chair. So what is the probability that you pick someone at random and they are sitting behind a girl? Right. Well, the front row isn't sitting behind anybody, so none of them count. In this row, nobody is sitting behind a girl because these are all boys, so none of them count. In this row, sitting behind a girl, well, this boy is sitting behind this girl, and this girl is sitting behind this girl. So that's 2. And in this row, we've got this boy sits behind a girl and this girl sits behind a girl. So in total, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 students out of 16 who are sitting behind girls. 4 and 16 have a common factor of 4, so I divide by 4 and I get a quarter. Next question. What is the probability that a student chosen at random is sitting in front of a boy? Right, let's start with this row. None of these students are sitting in front of a boy because they're the back row. In this row, this student sits in front of this boy, and this student sits in front of this boy. In this row, this student sits in front of this boy, and this student sits in front of this boy. In this row, this student sits in front of this boy, and this student sits in front of this boy. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 6 students who sit in front of a boy. That's 6 out of 16. I can divide both those numbers by 2 and get 3/8. And then the next final question. What is the probability, choosing someone at random, that they are sitting to the right of a girl? I'm going to start with this column here. These 4 students are on the right of nothing, so none of them can be sitting to the right of a girl. Going to this column here, this student sits to the right of this girl. This student sits to the right of this girl. Into this column, this student sits to the right of this girl, and this student sits to the right of this girl. Then the final column, we have this student sits to the right of this girl, and this student sits to the right of this girl. So how many little red crosses do I have altogether? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have 6 out of 16, which is the same as the question before. So it's 3/8. Okay. So what I would like you to do now is try the questions. The worksheets are attached and show my homework. The answers are also there. Please try 1 or 2 questions and check your answers as you go along. You can start on level 2 or level 3, and let's see how you get on.